Hey, howdy do out there everyone, my name is Michael and welcome to the Doot Corner, where I usually do the doodles for practice and fun, but today I'm showing you one of the last projects I worked on for my school semester, which was another poster, this time for a non-profit called the Superhero Project, which as they say on their website, makes posters for kids who struggle with issues that leave them in the hospital a lot, and they make these comic book style posters to show them the superhero they are inside. It's kind of a corny premise when you say it like that, but when you look at it for someone like little Anni, who was my subject for superheroification, it's really cute. When we started, we got a whole lot more info than we had for the Make-A-Wish posters, which is kind of funny to me that Make-A-Wish, as big of a company as it is, couldn't even be bothered to send us an email, but these guys were so on top of it. We got a whole rundown of our subjects, everything they wanted to be, everything they wanted to look like, the colors, their costume, their superhero name, sidekicks, backgrounds, things they liked and didn't like, absolutely everything, along with templates, style guides, and we even had a liaison who helped us do drawovers and edits, which I tried to record some of, but Zoom kept crashing, so I couldn't really do that. Part of the sketch was also corrupted, so sorry about that as well. So from this several page document of everything about Anni, I was trying really hard to incorporate everything Anni wanted. I didn't really need to, necessarily, but I really wanted to. I was told she loved ball pits and needed to have her flying W2 wagon stroller as a vehicle. She needed her light up elephant and wanted her favorite toy, these sort of hex panel RGB lights, to be incorporated. Her parents said that she loved to smile, and her power was supposed to be using glitter magic and smiles to make people happy, which was adorable and I think why I became so invested with this particular project. There are a lot of other details, like her taste for Eric Carle and Dr. Seuss, which I commend. Very good authors. Hungry Caterpillar is my favorite, and it's safe to say that every single detail I put in was part of something that Anni wanted. There was nothing that I drew that was any kind of extraneous detail, which I guess at least in a sort of sense made it easy for me to figure out the composition because I didn't have to imagine anything. Anni and her parents kinda did all that for me. This initial sketch phase was to get the layout of everything and to see how much I could introduce without making it too messy. On our first revision, mine was edited to fix her eyes and change some proportions of her limbs, which was pretty helpful. I went for a kind of dynamic feeling scene of her flying over the ball pit, throwing a glitter ball at the camera, and having those hex lights in the air like steps that lead down to the ball pit. The wagon is flying in the corner, and I've got the caterpillar and the cat in the hat, and it was all a little tough to get right, obviously. It's a lot of elements in a pretty dynamic style that I'm not used to or even very good at. The next stage was her logo. I figured it would be best to make that in Illustrator. I'm much better in Illustrator, so I could make the text proportional and clean, and so I did. Though I did actually run into a bit of an issue that I've never had before, which was that the blend that I used to make the 3D effect on the text couldn't be turned into a single shape or clipping mask because there were too many complex shapes, and it created this insane fractal mess of lines that couldn't be interpreted by the computer and then crashed. And it did that probably 3 times before I just figured that if I combined them all together really slowly, chunk by chunk, and then made a compound shape out of everything, it solved the problem. After that, I introduced the logo and then went on to inking. I sort of feel like each step of this process was slowly building up on my mistakes until it was glaringly obvious that I wasn't really skilled in doing this particular type of project, but I mean, it still came out alright enough, even if it was shaky. I really do wish for Anni's sake that I had a more stable hand and could draw cleaner lines, but I'm just not well practiced enough in that. Either way, my next edit requests were to fix the ball pit because it just looked really muddy and kinda just a mess of colors, and to redraw the caterpillar and the cat in the hat so that they looked a little more in line with my shaky hand style. There were a couple of other minor changes as well, but those aren't really worth mention, just a couple of colors here or there. I went through and made those. I redrew the characters myself, though they don't really look all that different from a distance. Added a little more definition in some spots and was a bit more methodical about how I designed the ball pit. I also deleted those old hexes and remade them in Illustrator so that they would be more the right shape and could recede into the background more. And it was a bit messy, but it was done. It has been about 2 months now that I've been waiting to post this. We were asked to refrain from posting until it was confirmed what was happening to the posters, and I only found out a week before the end of school that mine, I think, if I understood correctly, will be used for Anni, but only as a secondary poster. So my poster is an accessory, really, to one that's going to be designed by somebody else. I hope it makes her smile all the same. I'm not allowed to show her face for obvious reasons, because obvious, but she really does have a great smile, and that was one of the parts that I actually got kind of perfectly correct in this poster right from the start and all the way through. Her smile actually does look like that. That's about the right shape, and it's really really great. So, Anni, I hope you get this poster, and I hope you enjoy it, perhaps maybe when you're old enough to enjoy it at least. I enjoyed making it for you, and I learned a whole lot about my work while doing it. So stay super and keep smiling. For everybody else, I hope you've all enjoyed as well, and if you did, don't forget to do all that likes and subscribble stuff. And without further ado, farewell.